Welcome to Mexico and the jungles of Nayarit. So in this video, I wanted to talk to you about our frustration in what we have seen across Mexico. We've visited 6 states this year in 2022. When you probably see this video, it will be in 2023. But the same thing applies. And you know, it is frustrating because we have seen all the speculation that has happened in housing markets and real estate markets in Canada and the United States just bleed into Mexico, into all these coastal areas of Mexico, which are very, very beautiful places. And you know, a lot of people have kind of got caught up in the fear of missing out of all this because they think, you know, oh, there's a lot of retirees that are moving here, so everything's going to be okay. But the reality is, when you actually come here to Mexico and you start to look around, you start to see the similar patterns that we've seen in Canada. And those similar patterns are essentially condo buildings going up everywhere, pre-construction sales and projects, hundreds and hundreds of them happening everywhere. And it doesn't matter if you're in Nayarit, Baja California Sur, Quintana Roo, Yucatan, like all these places, the same thing is happening. So the thing is, there is a lot of people that are getting caught up in all this. There's a lot of people that are investing in Airbnbs. And quite frankly, I think that is ridiculous considering where the economies are heading in Canada and the US and also Mexico, because Mexico depends so much on the US as well. So the reality is the economies aren't in a good place. They're not heading into a good place. So investing in an Airbnb is a very, very dumb idea in my opinion. And it has really distorted everything here. The herd is buying here, and as somebody who doesn't want to be part of that herd, you know, it just makes me not want to buy here. It makes me not want to come live here, because our plan was to live here for, you know, 2-3 years, then move to another country and rent out that place. So we would be buying it for future investment. But the thing is, we don't want to buy a place for a lot more than it's actually worth, which is what would happen if we bought right now here in Nayarit or in any of these other very, very bubbly, frothy places in Mexico. So that's really frustrating for us, because that means that, you know, it could possibly delay our move. It could possibly change our move from actually coming to here in Mexico to another country. The thing is, we are prepared to wait. And, you know, in my opinion, it is frustrating for me. And I've always learned in life that if you take the path of least resistance, then usually that is going to be the worst decision to make. And the path of least resistance for us would be to just buy a place in Mexico right now. And I think that would be a poor investment idea, considering other investments that are out there that just have a better risk to reward profile than this one, let's say. I know many people are planning on leaving Canada. Many people have left Canada and gone to Mexico, and many people have their foot in Canada and Mexico, like they're like snowbirds essentially. And you know, I think that it is encouraging that so many people are starting to leave. So many people are trying to get themselves positioned in a way that they can leave. You know, if you have a skill that you can sell remotely, then that is fantastic. You're going to be so much better off, because that means you're independent of living in one particular place, and you can keep your cost of living much lower than you could if you lived in Canada or the United States, for example. It is sad though to see the economy here in Mexico go through essentially the same as what it went through in 2008. And essentially what that is they've had this boom in real estate. It has created all these jobs in construction, and essentially what's going to happen is those projects, those construction jobs, they're going to disappear. Like, they're not going to be there in a couple of years because of the recession. So what does that then mean for the economy here in Mexico? And what does that mean for crime and all these other things? It's something that you really have to take into account. You can't just act like Mexico is like Canada or like the United States. All these countries are independent, they're very different. I love Mexico. I think the people here are fantastic. I would much rather live in Mexico than the US actually, which a lot of people would prefer it the other way around, but everybody's different. You know, it depends what you do. There's a lot of red tape around what I do in the US, so that kind of gives me some sort of bias. You know, here in Mexico, it's a phenomenal country and there's so many different places that you can go. You know, it's not just a fact that you can come here to the Pacific coast. There's also the Gulf Coast, there's also the Caribbean coast, you've also got the Sea of Cortez. You've got all these places, so it's kind of great in that way. So anyway, I hope this video kind of helped provide some useful information for you, and if you enjoyed it, you might like this one here, you might also like that one there, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.